Welcome to ACT Prep Day 6. Hopefully you are getting out your bell ringer for today. And I want you to pause the video, take about 5 to 10 minutes, and answer the questions. And then when you have completed it, unpause and we will go over the answers. Okay, welcome back. Let's check our answers. Now, the biggest thing for number 1 is the word decreasing order. I'm real bad. I tend to think increasing and would probably make that mistake. So decreasing order, you're going to start with positive numbers first and then go down to 0. When you get to negative, you have to remember that smaller numbers that are negative are closer to 0 and larger numbers are further away, so it's the opposite. Negative 14 plus 22, I think 22 minus 14 gives me 8. When you have problems like number 3, I highly advise you do not put all of that in the calculator, but you chunk it. Like 2 minus 5 gives me 3. And then you work these problems. 12 minus 6 is 1. Or 12 divided by 6 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So that gives us this. This you could put in the calculator. You shouldn't. But the more stuff you put in the calculator, the easier it is for you to mess up and just key something wrong and therefore get an incorrect answer. Okay, so today starts our first lesson on mean, median, and mode. Remember, you should be following along in your book and filling out those blanks in your workbook. So what is mean? Mean is the sum of the data items divided by the number of data items. It's also the average, okay? We also call it the average mean, or the average. And so what you do is if you have 5 test scores, you add all 5 together and divide by 5 since you have 5 test scores. Here is the data set. We've got a data set here. There's 5 different numbers, so we're going to divide by 5. We just add all 5 of those together. We get 46.4. Now we divide 46.4 by 5 and gives us an average of 9.28. This is definitely one where a calculator comes in handy because I can add all these numbers together by hand, but I'm going to be faster with a calculator. Now median, this is the middle data set. And I always remember it because if I'm driving down the road and I go a little bit too much to the left, then I've hit the median in the road because it's in the middle. Now, the problem with this is you have to remember you can't define the median until you order the data set from smallest to largest. They have to be in order. Now, if you have an odd number of data, there is one singular middle value, 1. If you have an even number of data, there's going to be where here's 2 numbers and the middle is, in between the 2 numbers. Okay, so we'll take the average of the 2 numbers. Now, there's one way to help you figure that out. Let's say I have 9. That's odd. I know there'll be a single middle number. If you divide that by 2, that's going to give me 4.5. 4.5 rounds up to 5, so the 5th number would be my median. If it was an even number, let's say 8, 8 divided by 2 is going to be 4. I remember that when it's an even number, it's the average of 2, so we're going to average the 4th and the 5th number together. Yeah, that can really help you, especially if you're working with a large number of numbers and you got it on a spreadsheet. It'll let you know which line to go to. So this first example, 5 numbers, we're going to put them in order from left to right. And here we go, 8.3 being the smallest, 10.2 being the largest. This has a middle number here of 9.4. This is our median. You can see we have 2 on the left and we have 2 on the right. Now we have 4. If we put them in order, the middle is going to split the 2 numbers. We have 2 on the left, 2 on the right. This is why we have to take the middle 2 numbers and average them together to find out what number is in the middle of those 2. So 3.6 plus 4.4 divided by 2 gives us a 4.0. Now the mode. The mode is the data value that occurs most often. I usually refer to like voting for homecoming queen or coming home king. Whoever wins is the mode. They got the most votes. If there's ever a tie, then that means two people got the same number of votes. Sometimes you can do one where they say we've got to revote because nobody won. So you can have one mode, two or more modes, or you can have zero. And how can you have zero? If I polled the class and said, hey, I'm going to bring your favorite lunch tomorrow, we're going to have it in class, what's everybody's favorite? And if everybody wrote down something completely different, no two people agreed, we'd have no mode. There's nothing that occurred most often. If 51% of the class picked pizza, then that would be the mode. Or if it was 50-50 pizza and chicken nuggets, then I would have two modes. It would be pizza and chicken nuggets. So you can have one mode, more than one mode, or zero modes. Now, let's find the mode in this data set. So you basically just go through here and go, okay, I got 10, 12, not the same, 9, not the same, 12, ooh, this is the second time it occurred. 11, no. 8, no, not been seen before. Ooh, 12, here's the third time it appears. That tells me that 12 is the mode in this data set. Now, let's look at an ACT example. Matt has the following grades in his science class. So you've got 92, 85, 96, and 100. If he has more than one test to take in this class, what must he make to finish with a 90? I've used this problem every time I'm in class. Even when I was in college, I would go into my final exam, my final test, going, what do I need on this for an A? Sometimes it would be impossible where it's like, gosh, I need like 140 for an A. So let's shoot for the B because that's what I'm going to get. So how would we solve this? If you add up the 4 test grades that you have, you see that you've earned a total of 374 points. Okay, that's the sum of 4 grades. Now, if you want to get a 90 average with 5 grades, you're going to need 450 points because that is 90 times 5 or 0.90 times 500. Okay, I do the 90 times 5. I don't do the whole points. So that gives me 450. When you get the 450 and you subtract out the points you've earned, 373, it tells you you need a 77 on this last test to have an A. That's pretty good. Okay, here is where I want you to, this is where we enter the practice set. If you are doing this remote from home, I want you to get out your phone. I want you to set a timer for 6 minutes, and I want you to set it down. It could be your iPad, it could be your watch, something. I want you to time yourself. So set your timer, pause this video, answer the questions again. Go through those steps. Ask, try, eliminate, guess. I want you to use those strategies because you're going to evaluate how well those strategies are working on these practice questions. So again, pause, and I'll see you in about 6 minutes. Okay, let's go back over these answers. And if we look at the first one, if the amounts of rainfall are 1.7, 2.2, 0.5, 0.72, and 1.1, what is the mean? You need to know this means average. So we add all 5 numbers together, we divide by 5, what do we get? 1.2. Again, you add all 5 of these numbers together, divide by 5, and you should equal 1.2. I'm probably going to double check my answer here because we've got 3 numbers that are really close together. And just to make sure I didn't accidentally key something wrong on my calculator, if I'm doing it by hand, I'm probably going to double check. Now, this is one that once students see it, tends to be easier for them. If the average of 6 numbers is increased by 3, how much would the sum of the 6 numbers have to increase? Basically, I've done this problem enough that if the average increases by 3, then that means each one of these 6 numbers has to increase by 3. So 6 times 3 is 18. If all 6 numbers have to increase by 3, then that's 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, which is 3 times 6, which is 18. Here we've got a mean of 5 numbers. It's 36. What is the 5th number if 4 of the numbers are 27? Again, this is where you go, and if you have 5 numbers, the average is 36. We want to do 36 times 5, and that's going to give us 180. Then we want to add these 4 numbers together and subtract them from that. And when we add those together, we get, let me get my calculator out. So those numbers are going to total up to be, we've got 27 plus 42 plus 43 plus 35. That totals 147. So now if we subtract 147 from this, you're going to end up getting what? 33? There you go. Here, what is the median of the following 9 numbers? Well, if there's 9 numbers, 9 divided by 2, it's odd. There'll be 1 number. This gives me 4.5. So I'm looking for the 5th number. Woo! So let's see. The smallest number is 11. Cross it out. The next one is 15. Then it looks like 3rd and 4th. And then the 5th one is what? 22. Can I stop there? Yes, because it's the 5th one. Now, here's one that's on a table. And it says, Julie surveyed 15 people. This is a statistic one. And how much they eat out for supper. Here are the responses. So which interval contains the median of the data, or the middle? Well, if we look, there's a total of 15 responses. So the median is going to be sitting in between 7 and 8. Because 15, it's going to actually be 8. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So the 8th one is going to be the median. Well, if we start at the top and we go 3 to 8, we find it here. Even if we start at the bottom, the 8th one's going to be here. So that means our median is in the 2 to 3 times a week. Which interval contains the mode? The mode is the one that occurs most often. You should be able to look right there and go 2 to 3. Boom, that's probably a 5-second question. Saves you some time for the harder ones. And that is the end of day 6. So your exit ticket gives you a data set of 6 numbers and wants you to find the mean, median, and mode. If you have decimal points, I want you to round to 2 decimal places. Okay? Enjoy, and I will see you next class.